Unbelievable.
He was what he wanted to be at the very beginning, which was a pop star. He never wanted to be anything other than that. He told people at the time he just wanted to be famous. He wanted to get laid 100 times a day, and he got all that instantly through bending spoons.
In many ways, he was the right guy at the right time and place. Even if Uri were absolutely real, if he'd shown up in 1950 or 1990, I don't think he would have that impact that he had then. Of course, in the 70s, the space program was going strong. The astronauts and the moon landing, emphasized outer space, so we had all the UFO connections. Extraterrestrials were sort of on people's minds. In addition, the so-called race for inner space was booming, and he just fit it beautifully. Plus, Uri was fresh, young, handsome, vigorous, dynamic. Such chutzpah, really, about what he can do. You're inclined to think, well, maybe he knows something you don't.
As Geller's fame spread, everyone wanted to share the secret. A new phenomenon was born: spoon-bending parties.
Bend! 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 Bend!
Everybody wanted to be Uri Geller. Everybody was bending spoons. Every playground was full of kids saying, look, I can bend this, and stroking things and then kind of bending them behind their back.
Woo, look at this one, what Tammy did. Very good.
This power may be no more than the combination of a warm spoon and a strong thumb. But like many who have an experience they cannot explain, these people find an answer in mysterious psychic forces.
The most talented of the new spoon benders were children. It was the breakthrough that some scientists had been waiting for.
When these children came forth, I thought, okay, we've got a set of people to experiment on who apparently can harness the power of the mind. And with children, we thought, well, these children are reasonably innocent. They're not going to be lying. They're not going to be cheating, and so on. We started with the children in a very naive situation with almost nothing in the way of detectors around, and then we brought in one after another of the measuring devices. So in the end they were surrounded, and they even had EEGs on them or whatever. What we found out was that those who were able to achieve some form of bending were doing it in a way that involved real pressure. Or in the end, they were not able to do it under the conditions we imposed.
The scientists had found that the young spoon benders were cheating. Geller and his assistant Shippy, however, were going from strength to strength.
Oh my God.
I can't believe that.
This is incredible. I'll never forget this day. It was a mass hysteria.
Japan was always amazing because when people turned out to see you, the press, they were always like 1,000 photographers.
Yeah, well, you can see it. Look at this. Amazing. And then when we used to arrive at the airport, they'll always have like 20 girls with flowers.
I remember there were times where all I could hear is the clicking of cameras. It was like a rainforest in Brazil. I'm looking at this now, and the thought that flashes up in my mind is, how did I do it? It is incredible. A simple, little, tiny bent key changed the world.
Geller was flying high on his popular appeal, and now claiming even more extraordinary powers. He declared that he could psychically empower people by sending telepathic messages from the air.
What happens is that when I concentrate on something, the masses, the millions concentrating at the same time gives an enormous energy. So what happened, and I'm sure it happened, that thousands of broken watches started ticking all across America.
Geller and Shippy moved to a lavish apartment in Manhattan. They were mixing with wealthy eccentrics who'd succumbed to Geller's charms.
Well, this is one of the first holidays we took with Uri. Byron invited him to join us on the music cruise in the Mediterranean. This is on the deck of the boat, Uri and myself and...
Shippy and you?
Shippy and me. And here's Uri doing his daily exercise lifting weights.
Well, he was challenged to stop the ship, and he did. Hungarian orchestra said, Uri, come on, stop the boat. So he went to the back of the boat, And he concentrated about 3 minutes, came back, and within a very short time, the boat began to slow down, slower, came to a total stop. And people were saying, what's happened? The captain came out and he said, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, something's wrong with our rudder in the engine room. We'll fix it, and within 2 hours we'll be on our way. And of course, they did feel something had gone totally bent and all cockeyed, and we were just laughing our heads off because we knew what had happened.
Even more incredible events were apparently taking place in secret. Geller claims that he was asked to use his powers for undercover intelligence work.
Out of the blue, I was approached by a CIA agent to do some spying work for them, and I loved it. They wanted to know if I could erase floppy disks that were on computers or in diplomatic pouches. My task was sitting next to KGB agents, looking at the diplomatic pouch, and in my mind, I would send sort of waves saying, erase, erase, erase. And I've done that many times. But then there was one time, and I will not mention which intelligence agency it was, but I was led into a room and there was a pig in the middle of the room. And one of the scientists looked at his watch and he said to me, I'm going out for lunch. By the time I come back, I want to see the pig dead. He says, try to influence the heart of the pig. You know, it's very similar to human beings. Well, you can imagine when I heard that, everything collapsed in my mind about science and scientists. I suddenly hated the field. And I actually ran out.
Geller's claims as to helping the CIA and whatnot, I think, are just fantasy. But on the other hand, they're not impossible, because there are silly people on both sides of any of these controversies. And there are people in the U.S. government who have done much sillier things than that.
If there is any truth to Geller's claims, the details are still classified. But there's an even more mysterious chapter to Geller's story. Since his time in Israel, Geller had been undergoing long sessions of hypnosis with an eccentric American medical doctor. Under hypnosis, Geller had apparently discovered the source of his mysterious powers. The full story was revealed in his biography.
Geller has just revealed in the book, Uri, a new power. He is the channel through which alien beings, known as Huva, communicate with Earth.
Their messages or their words would come in very strangely. Sometimes they come through me, and I'm in a state of, let's say, hypnosis. But most of the time, which is even more shocking because other people see that, the voice appears on tapes. But the most shocking thing is, Frank, that after the thing finishes, the tape dematerializes. I mean, inside the cassette tape recorder, it just disappears.
Now that all these tapes have mysteriously vanished, Geller's biography is the only record of what the aliens had to say.
Supposedly there was this large mothership from the planet Hova, secret intelligences out there in the universe who were sort of controlling things, and Uri was their messenger of sorts, All kinds of really wild claims are made about teleportations, especially dislocations, even predictions. It was all so absurd that I think in the end it was very damaging to Uri.
Geller's claims were so outlandish that he began to alienate many of his supporters. By the late 1970s, public skepticism about the paranormal had become widespread. Geller was forced to publicly defend himself against his critics.
The scientist is 2 and 2 has to be 4. But in my case, this power is so strange that it's 2 and 2 is not 4. And it's not tricks what I do, it's a real energy.
In private, Geller had developed a damaging disorder known only to his closest friends.
He was losing weight, and there was a sort of a franticness about his eating, which was suspicious.